Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Farming Simulator 17 on Thornton Farm, where I'm moving the potato harvester out of the way so that we can get this bad boy into the field. The John Deere 9RX in 9420RX configuration with, I think this is a 10 meter cultivator on the back. It's the Porsche... What cultivator do I have? Horse Tiger 10LT, so it is a 10 meter cultivator. We are gonna get the field cultivated up today, the same field that we did yesterday. Gonna get that cultivated up today. Hopefully we'll get it seeded as well, but I can't 100% guarantee it. As you can see by looking up at the top of the screen, at the top right corner of your video, we are in mid-autumn. We are preparing for winter. I'm hoping to get a bit of snow in winter. Let's have a look at the weather forecast. We are due some snow. That is good news. So let's get this cultivator unfolded. The John Deere is very dirty at the moment. I am going to press Control D. This is what it looks like when it's clean. All clean and shiny and brand new looking. It's not going to be like that for very long. So what I'm going to do at the very start of this video is take a nice screenshot of this thing in action. Just do another Control D here. Print screen that. There we go. So that's going to be our thumbnail for today. I am using the keyboard again, so apologies for the clicking you can probably hear. Let's get the HUD back up. One thing that I've kind of noticed over the last little while is I used to play guitar, and I haven't played it for a few years now, but the more I play PC games, the more I kind of have to contort my hand for different control combinations. I'm probably going to be, if I were to get back into guitar, I'd probably be able to play notes that I couldn't do before, and play like chords that I couldn't play before, because I'm getting more and more used to having the dexterity in my left hand that I just didn't have. So let's continue on cultivating here. That's just a little random little anecdote, and something I've noticed is that the more you play PC games, the better you're probably going to be at playing an instrument, because you've got the, especially with your left hand, because if you're right-handed like me, your left hand is usually just, you don't have much dexterity, you don't have much control over it. But once you start playing PC games a lot, you suddenly learn how to use your left hand, and kind of contort it. Yes, contort it into shapes that maybe you wouldn't have been able to do before. And especially using your little finger, because shift button is a thing. But yeah, random little thing that I noticed. This John Deere 9RX, I have been using it for a little while. It's got, what, 1.7, almost 2 hours on the ticker. I like this tractor. It is very nice indeed. It is pretty well detailed. It's got very few issues. There's, you know, one or two things that I would change if I were doing it myself. I think one thing that does need changing is the little bug with the condor, where for whatever reason it just kind of hooks up in a bad way. And if you want this mod, by the way, it's on American Eagles modding. It's not on ModHost or any of the usual suspects. It's on American Eagles is the official download link for that, for this. And yeah, I think I said I'd do manure today. I will do manure. Actually, I might be able to do it today. Let's have a look at a big ass manure spreader real quick. Manure spreaders. What do I have that's big? The PS3401 can hold 32,000 litres. Do I have anything that beats 32,000 litres? Other than the one from the Big Bud. So the only thing that beats it is the Brochard Constructeur, which can hold 70,000 litres. I might well use the 70,000 litre manure spreader. So I'm going to go back up this line here and actually just create a second headland around, because I don't have the space to turn that I kind of need. Which, you know, actually that's not actually going to be that big of an issue. I can just swipe the bits that I've missed at the end. So let's continue on. The reason that I'm cultivating, by the way, is that seeder over there, the big Lemkin seeder, does not have direct drill capabilities, so you do have to cultivate your fields and cultivate the crop out of the fields before you move on. Here's one of the biggest weaknesses of the 9RX, is that the turning circle is great, but it kind of slows to a crawl when you're turning. Let's just take another swipe along here with the cultivator and just see if we can get a decent enough headland in. Now, some of you might be wondering, why are you using a 9RX? Why are you using a John Deere? Why are you using this? Why, Dave? You don't like John Deeres. You always make jokes about it catching fire. And this is true, and they're... You might have noticed I said the word jokes. They are jokes. I think John Deere makes some mighty fine tractors. The reason I don't usually use John Deeres is because so many people use them. Everybody wants to see John Deeres, and everybody wants to see everything. And there's so many channels that use so many John Deeres that I feel like it's kind of defeats... it's kind of a bit odd using a John Deere when everybody else is using a John Deere. I prefer to use a New Holland for the same job, or a Valtra, or a Fendt, or a Fast Track. You know, I'm just kind of trying to cater to different people and different tastes, I guess. Because I don't have any personal preferences on tractors at all. I like New Holland, I like Massey, I like Fendt, I like, I think Valtra makes some really pretty tractors. But I do like John Deeres. I think this is a nice looking John Deere, personally. My favourite John Deere, before anybody asks, is the 6R. Which it's a bit of a shame there's no genuinely, like, mind-blowingly good mods of that yet for FS17. Any modders watching, please can I have a 6R? Because that'd be really nice. I'd be happy if I had a 6R. I'd use it if I had a 6R. I'd use John Deere's more often if I had a good 6R. But even the 7 and 8Rs that are out are quite good. This 9R kind of complements them well. I believe it's been definitely it's been textured by the same guys that did the 7 and 8Rs. Which I can't remember the name of the mod team off the top of my head. I do apologize if you're watching that mod team. But they do some fantastic work. And I think they've made a couple of good points about mods being shared when they shouldn't have been. By, I don't want to say throwing a hissy fit, but throwing... How do I put this in a way that doesn't sound like I'm trying to belittle them? They made a point by saying they're not going to be releasing any more mods publicly. And going back on that after a couple of weeks, which might sound like, oh, they're just, you know, they've just turned around on their word and they've been, you know, they're not to be trusted or whatever. No, they were making a point. The point is that if modders are abused or, you know, people start doing that kind of stuff, the modder can quit very easily. You get modders angry and they're gonna strike back in whatever way they can, and the best way for a modder to strike back is to just not release their mods anymore. So there is a certain... There's a point that they made, and maybe the way they made it wasn't the greatest, because I was of the impression that they were you know, at first throwing a bit of a hissy fit and complaining when there was nothing to complain about, but thinking about it more and kind of looking at it in a less hypocritical light and a less cynical light. They made a very good point and made it well, that modders can up and quit and just decide, do you know what, I'm gonna make this stuff all for me from now on, because there's less hassle. I can make it exactly how I want, when I want, and where I want. Something that a lot of people don't take on board. Mods are released not as a course of, you've made a mod, now you've got to release it. It's a course of, well, I've made a mod and I want people to be able, you know, I want to share what I've created. I want to let other people experience what I can now experience. And that's the way I see a lot of modders working. Personally, I know there's some people who make mods exclusively just to release them, and I'm perfectly okay with them. In fact, a lot of mappers do that because maps take a long time to make. But it's a case of, you know, I make it because I want to. It's not because I have to. That's why you'll often see mappers like taking little breaks every now and then, and saying, "Oh, I haven't been worked on the map for 2 weeks." Well, why haven't you worked on the map for 2 weeks? Because I can't be bothered. It's not my job. I haven't felt like working on a map for 2 weeks, so I haven't. That's why maps take so long. Maps are like 2,000 or 3,000 hours, by the way, to make. So whenever you see one, it's like a serious amount of work has gone into it, and even my own, there's probably 2,000 hours in it already, and it's probably another 2,000 or so to go before it's done. But the remaining hours, I wouldn't say 2,000, a few hundred definitely. The remaining hours are going to be a lot easier because I've got all of the really fiddly, nasty bits like the roads done, and it's just going to be mainly, how can I create this in a way that I like? And finding actual resources to use. Then changing those resources to suit exactly the look that I'm looking for. Which I will be doing with... if you've seen the last stream I did, I'll have to ask. I was putting in sheds. I don't like the texture on those sheds. I like most of it, but the colour I don't like. I'm actually going to change those to be green, because most of the sheds I see are green. So I'm going to be changing the textures up a bit and maybe making them look a bit more aged. I'll be having like some newer sheds that are less aged and some older sheds that are more aged, and I'll be merging a few packs together to get that kind of look where I can have like specific sheds that have specific designs and kind of somewhat specific ages, and give them different levels of weathering, and that's something that I'm looking forward to doing. Because, fun fact, I actually really like screwing about with textures. As you'll find out in October. For boating, I've been screwing around with some stuff again. Come to think of it, I need to actually get those things that I've screwed around with fully in-gamed again. So that's going to be a little project for myself over the next couple of weeks, over the next month or so. I've got a little fleet of retextured stuff that I'll be unveiling and using in October. Those of you who were around last October know exactly what I've done. Those of you who have not can be worried, because a lot of my retextures are weird. Do I have it actually switched on in this so that I can show you guys? Let me have a look real quick. I want to see if I can find... There it is. My mod. The MT700E Rainbow. Which I'll buy in a few minutes to show you guys. I might actually use that for the manure spreading. The MT900E or 700E Rainbow is a retexture of the bog standard in-game MT700 Challenger. It was the first reskin I did in FS17, so it's not very good. if I was doing it now, I'd do it in a nearly completely different way. I figured out a couple of tricks during the work for October that would have made the retexture even better, and I might actually redo that with better textures. Let's get this up and out of the ground and fold it up. We'll get the MT700E now, which is right over at the end here. Whoop. I passed it. There it is. We'll actually turn on creative money. And we'll get it in my favorite configuration, which is the 775. We'll get a manure spreader as well. How much time do we have? Oh, we've got plenty of time. We'll get the PS3401. Yeah, the 3401. And we can turn off the deer. Tab over to this thing. The MT700E Rainbow Edition. Which was not supposed to be as hilariously colourful as it actually is. It was just supposed to be like a rainbow going across the entire thing, not this weird psychedelic effect that it actually has. I want to double check actually what is the fertilization stage of these fields. 7 and 13 both need fertilization. That is actually pretty sweet. That is going to suit me down to the ground. So 7 is going to be the first field to get done. It's a bit easier to get to from the industrial estate, which is where the compost master is. And this is a tractor that I am much better at driving outside of the cab, because I can't show you. Forgot I don't have head tracking turned on. It just works. It just, because of the turning circle, it's easier to just do some taps instead of trying to use the wheel, because you're always trying to self-correct then afterwards. Whereas with the little tappies of the keyboard, it just kind of comes... It seems to me like it's a bit more logical to do tappy steering. So what I got over in the industrial estate, and I might have to move it a bit, is I have an auto-loading conveyor belt. I presume it's in the industrial estate. I know there's one down there. I think there should be another one up here. The one down there is to suit the potatoes and sugar beets. There's the normal manure spreader that I've been using, but this one's going to be just that bit bigger, so it's going to be a bit easier to get it done quickly. Oh, and by the way, I should mention, the last video that I'm going to have on this map is going to be me selling off absolutely everything. It's going to be a bit of a time-lapse. There should be one here, but there's not. I presume it either flew across the map, so I should have two conveyors. There's one down in the yard. There's one also down in the yard. Interesting. So let's leave that there. Actually, there's a fence down the yard that I can use to bring the conveyor over. Where's the fence? Fence. I think I just told the grasshopper to go flying. Hang on. Yes, stop that now. So use the fence here to bash some stuff about. Oh yeah, I was using... Oh yeah, I remember why that one's there now. That conveyor was there because I was moving chaff into a trailer to make silage bales with the LT Master, which then automatically dumped them into the sell point, which actually worked really well. So what I'm doing, or going to do here, is smash into the gateway, as I tend to do every single time. I tend to smash that gate with something. And that worked well. I wasn't actually expecting the conveyor to go right into the compost. First time on a random disconnect like that. Yeah, that works for me. Compost Master's now kicked into action again. And we are getting compost off the conveyor. Doesn't actually technically have a fill plane, which kind of sucks, but you know, the particle systems aren't working as they probably should, but it's filling. Field 7 should be no big deal. I actually want to change the working width, which I can't remember how to do. Why can... That's an interesting little thing. I can fold down one side of the mirror. Oh, it's to fill it. It's to make filling it easier. I get it. And every time I reset this, I have to change the controls. Of course, play. That should be this full. Yep, 32,000 liters. How do you change the... Is the page up and down? Nope. 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 I can't remember how to do this. Unfold the mirror spreader. Something I definitely need to do. Whoops. Left shift G, left shift H, Control D to change dirt. I can't remember the controls of the working with mod. Oops. So let's get over to field 7 now. You can see why I've decided on... Well, you might be able to see why I've decided on the Challenger. It kind of looks somewhat legit pulling this thing. One thing that I don't like is the fuel usage mod interferes with anything that uses any sort of hydraulics, which technically I guess that side does in game, but in real life it's just kind of a latch and flap. But the way the game sees it, it works as hydraulics. So that's field 13 there. That needs to be completely fertilized. I might get a sprayer in for that. Let's get into field 7 first. It's going to be a bit easier to get to. It should take less than a full trailer, so it should be good. Passing by Stonehenge, which in the storyline that I've been running here is completely fake. Made of styrofoam, because I made it so you can knock it over. I'll come up with some odd ideas that at first don't make sense, but then the more I flesh them out, they kind of do to me in a way. Like the knocking Stonehenge over was supposed to be a joke or one-off, but then I kind of made it a running thing where every time I'm working anywhere near there, Stonehenge gets knocked. Field 8 for some reason is fertilized. Field 9 isn't. Oh, field 8 is fertilized because that was chopped straw. Ah. Right, let's unfold this. Get this turned around here. Switched on, and can I change the working with it all? Is it plus and minus? I honestly can't remember the controls, which kind of is a pain in the rear end, because getting a 24-meter spray on this would be a lot better than a 15-meter spray. The 9 extra meters would make a lot of difference. So let's get this around the corner here. That's where the 24 meters would be advantageous, because that wouldn't have caused a problem. So this compost just kind of spreads out really nicely. Doesn't look very legit from the front, but from the rear it does actually look rather nice. And I am using a slightly tinkered with version of the Compost Master mod, where I've reduced, or actually increased how much the compost gets used, because by default this would maybe have taken up 2 liters by now, whereas in reality it's taken up half a trailer. So I think my edit is better in a way. I don't like blowing my own horn or whatever. Also, this Challenger, for whatever reason, is 2-wheel drive, despite being on tracks. You have to manually turn on 4-wheel drive in drive control. So my phone is going off like it's the end of the world or something. What on earth is happening? Things on Facebook. Wonderful. I'll need to check those afterwards. This is part of my fun is like my phone is almost always going off, and I accidentally had it in my pocket, so my leg was just vibrating for the last 15 minutes or so. I'm not particularly popular, but oh my god, all the notifications are killing me. I'd best actually check this one from landing. There seems to be some sort of issue there. Ooh, the manure spreader is in fact empty. I think something's. Here's the thing. Landy and I have been talking a lot recently about YouTube and its brokenness. And, oh. He's, gonna talk about it real quick, on his behalf. His videos have been randomly demonetizing. We've been trying to figure out what's been causing it. I had a sneaking suspicion of something, but he's just sent me a picture that disproves it. I don't know if he's spoken about it in his own channel, but I'm going to talk about it here. He sent me a picture that's disproving my theory, which was the red dot that he uses for streams might have been flagged up for whatever reason by YouTube. He sent me a picture that's disproving that theory. I don't know what YouTube is at, because it seems to be randomly like deciding videos aren't suitable for advertisers at all. And it seems to be like completely random, because I've not had any issues with it yet. Landy's been running into near endless issues, and we make similar content, so I don't know what the problem is at all. Like YouTube, I'm gonna speak to YouTube here, not you guys. YouTube, please, actually talk to the people that, you know, make videos and make almost all of your money for you. Actually disclose things to us, because we can't make you money if you're not willing to advertise on our videos. And we can't make videos that can be advertised on if you're not going to tell us what these random weird filters you've suddenly implemented actually are, because it's impossible for us to guess. Actually impossible. Because everybody's been testing random things, and a few things are now known. A few things have been figured out, like what gets filtered and what doesn't. Okay, what's empty over here? It is the compost master itself. Do I need to refill that again, or do I have enough compost? I think I've got enough compost in storage now that it's not going to be an issue. I've got about 300,000 litres of compost in that shed there. This one. So I shouldn't need to refill the compost master ever again. Have I got this stuck on top of the trailer here by any chance, or what's going on? Yes, the trailer's actually lifted up the rear end of the thing. So let's get this into some sort of position where it's going to be useful to me. There we go. And the vent can be switched off. I've not been using the vent at all, and it has been on this entire time. That's that full again. But I think we've actually run out of time, to be quite honest. So I think it is time for me to say I've been RainbowDave. You've been watching Farming Simulator 17 on Thornton Farm. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, stay safe and goodbye.